Right now on the National Weather Desk, deadly tornado outbreak. Powerful storms leave a path of destruction across multiple states. We have team coverage from the hardest hit areas.
It was a doozy, that's for sure.
You feel my house just like it's gonna lift.
Airplanes are hitting extreme turbulence more often. We'll take a closer look into what's the cause.
Turbulence isn't going to knock a plane out of the sky, but it is scary because you're trapped on the airplane and you don't know what to do.
Summer is almost here, getting you ready for fun in the sun as we put sunglasses and sunscreens to the test.
So I decided to do a little experiment to find out what sunscreen is the best.
And boy, this stuff is really working.
And how sheep are being put to work 24/7 on a Wisconsin island.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Steve Rudin from WJLA in Washington, D.C. The unofficial start of summer is finally here. While many were able to enjoy great weather, severe storms could hamper your fun in the sun over the long holiday weekend.
Communities in northern Arkansas are working to clean up and rebuild what was lost after a tornado outbreak. Some people were left with next to nothing.
You see people on TV that lose their home in a tornado, but you don't really think that much about it till it happens to you, and you don't know where your next meal is going to come from or where you're going to sleep tonight.
It's the deadliest tornado event Arkansas has seen in 10 years. One man in Marion County says his brother was pulled out of his own home during the tornado.
He went for a ride through that. His house took a direct hit and it flattened it. He had laceration around his arm and his foot was gimped up.
Now what was once known as their family home is now missing major pieces that Justin Hurst grew up seeing every day. A beloved malt shop in Rogers that has been in the same spot for nearly 64 years was also in the path of a tornado. Business owners say they will not reopen their shop.
Lights at most of the intersections in Claremore aren't working. Massive trees and their limbs litter the yards where the tornado touched down, and the people are left picking up the pieces.
Trees everywhere, power lines. Across the street here where this tree is down, a gas line actually it blew and it was leaking gas the other night.
We could hear the wind howling outside, and then the lights went out, and a few minutes later I heard this horrendous crashing noise, that tree limb hitting the roof. Well, there were actually three of them up there, and one of them came through it, punctured the roof, and came through the ceiling.
As the cleanup and rebuild efforts continue, the Red Cross has set up shelters and resource centers around Claremore.
Right now we're in the stage of our relief operation where we're meeting people's immediate needs for shelter, food and water, supplies, things like that.
Douglas McGee has lived in Kentucky his entire life and says this was the first time he was scared during a storm.
I was in the bathtub that's when I ran to the bathtub, and you can feel my house just like it's going to lift, but it didn't.
Fortunately, he and his family are okay. Barry Bussell, who also lives in Trigg County, says he has a lot of cleaning to do on his property.
We started cutting trees from that stop sign to around the corner, and it was like, I guess, 30 or 40 trees down.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says there are 5 people who were killed from these storms.
But like we always see after severe weather events, first responders and everyday Kentuckians rallied to help each other in those toughest moments.
A tragic time where community and support are necessary.
One of the hardest hit communities is in Cook County, just north of Dallas. At least 7 died as a powerful storm ripped through the area Saturday night, including a mother and her 2 young children. The twister, packing winds upwards of 135 miles per hour, destroyed 200 homes and businesses.
It was a doozy, that's for sure. So we both feel very lucky to be alive, because a moment there I thought, well, I'm going to be able to hold it together.
An amazing story of survival comes from a gas station in North Texas. More than 100 people took shelter in a bathroom at the station and all survived. They credit one man who risked his life to urge strangers to seek cover immediately. The threat for another round of severe weather will continue well into this week. Today, the greatest risk is in Texas, including Dallas, Austin, and Plano. Widespread strong storms are expected with the potential for damaging winds and very large hail. Tomorrow, the risk spreads north to a narrow line stretching from eastern Colorado to the Canadian border. A suspected tornado also struck northeastern Pennsylvania last night. There is minor damage in the town not far from Wilkes-Barre. The area was under a tornado warning at the time. Severe storms moved through the Washington, D.C. region last night. This picture near Nats Park in the district. The line of storms brought heavy rain and ominous-looking clouds. Several severe thunderstorm warnings were posted by the National Weather Service, along with one tornado warning. A deadly lightning strike in Colorado. It killed a rancher and multiple head of cattle. All this unfolded just northwest of Denver as the man was feeding cattle from a trailer when lightning struck an open pasture. It knocked down 100 head of cattle. Many cities across Florida set heat records over the Memorial Day weekend. Miami, West Palm Beach, and Melbourne all set daily highs. Fort Pierce tied their warmest May temperature. With rain in the forecast today, temperatures should be just a little bit cooler, but still in the lower 90s. It won't be long before extreme heat impacts most of the country. Meteorologist Mike Susko explains how to prevent heat exhaustion.
Well, on these hot and humid summer days, even though we're enjoying the summer fun, it's important to make sure that you're staying hydrated and not going to be experiencing the signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke. And that's the point of this video here. Heat exhaustion symptoms that you want to keep an eye out for may be faintness or dizziness, excessive sweating, cool, pale, clammy skin, a rapid weak pulse, muscle cramps, and you might even become nauseous and start vomiting. In this case, get to a cool air-conditioned place as fast as possible, and you want to drink water if you can. Take a cool shower or use cold compresses. The idea is to lower your body temperature as much as you can, bring it back to normal. Heat stroke, on the other hand, there's a little bit of difference with the symptoms. First off, you may experience a throbbing headache and you could stop sweating altogether. This is because your body has no more fluids to sweat out. You could have red, hot, dry skin, rapid, strong pulse, and you might even become unconscious in this situation, as well as experience nausea and vomiting. Heat stroke is a medical emergency, and you or someone nearby should dial 911 immediately if you're experiencing the symptoms of heat stroke and get professional medical intervention as soon as possible. Of course, you could avoid these symptoms altogether by doing a couple things. One, if you're going to be outside, take breaks often in a cool air-conditioned place or a shaded area. And the key is to drink water and to stay hydrated the entire time as you're going to be outside in this summer heat. And even when it's not that hot out, still make sure you're staying hydrated and you will not experience these symptoms.
There are new National Weather Service alert categories in Oregon, where the red flag warning category has been revised. The warning will also include Washington State and Northern California. Meteorologist Dave Seletsky breaks it down.
So we're going to kind of break this down. And again, we don't expect this to be used a whole heck of a lot this summer. As a matter of fact, we really don't want it to be used at all. But again, it'll be used only in extreme cases in which you have high winds, high temperature, and very low humidity. And you could have the potential for explosive fire growth. So again, we'll keep an eye on this. But again, because of the threat of wildfires, again, coming up this summer, they have got a new level of what they call a particularly dangerous red flag warning, or a PDS red flag warning. We'll have to keep an eye on this, of course, and it's going to be one of those years where we have to keep an eye on these wildfires that could be developing later in the summer as things dry out and warm up across the Pacific Northwest.
Let's check in to see weather across the country today, and we start in Southfield, Michigan, about 15 miles northwest of Detroit. Scattered showers and storms are likely this afternoon, with highs reaching the 70s. Now let's head across to Ontario and Niagara Falls, where you see the mist rising from the falls here. Beautiful picture. It's going to be a cool day with on and off showers and highs in the 60s. And a much different story in New Orleans, where the heat is on. The forecast for the Crescent City under partly cloudy skies will reach the lower to middle 90s. And finally, look at Topsail Beach along the North Carolina coastline. Not the best day to go to the beach with scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. At least warm highs in the lower 80s will make it feel pretty good. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, does price really matter when it comes to which sunglasses are best to protect your eyes? We put it to the test. And why is airplane turbulence on the rise? We'll have more coming up.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Munn with a look at the Northeast. As we head through the daytime today, we are going to see any rain end in Maine, and then we will see the sunshine return for many areas across the Northeast for your Tuesday. Notice some showers, a couple downpours possible through the afternoon and evening. Then those clear out. We are going to see a mostly dry day on Wednesday, maybe some rain down to our south, and then the high temperatures today will top out in the 70s and 80s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Your Tuesday should be a lot quieter and drier than yesterday. We're looking at just some scattered clouds, mostly sunny skies, a stray shower not out of the question, but looks like Wednesday's got a better shot at seeing some rain and thunderstorm activity. High temperatures on your afternoon. High Tuesday looks like in the mid-80s. Wednesday will be just a few degrees cooler, reaching the low 80s. Luckily, it is going to be much quieter going from here on up into the weekend.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Afternoon highs are looking toasty once again, still above our averages for this time of year. Upper 80s in the northern part of our area, 90s for most of us. We get into the mid and upper 90s in central and south Florida. Now that frontal boundary will be making its way across North Florida. We're also going to see some isolated showers in Louisiana. Most of us, though, remain dry and clear as that frontal boundary makes its way through Florida. It will transition into a stationary front, and then we'll see it lift back up to the north.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
For the second time in a week, severe turbulence struck a packed commercial airline flight. 12 were injured Sunday after a plane flying from Doha to Dublin hit severe turbulence. Climate change has become a big factor, causing more aviation turbulence. Emily Gracie spoke to a researcher and to find out more if we should be concerned about turbulence in flying in the future.
There's been work done by my colleague Paul Williams at the University of Reading, who he's shown that convincingly that turbulence has been going up quite a bit, perhaps as much as 50% in the mid-latitudes. That is where a lot of the airplanes fly, say from across the Atlantic, from North America to Europe. Severe turbulence has increased about 50% since the late 1970s to now.
I know there's different types. Can you tell me the different types and how they occur?
There's lots of different kinds of turbulence that occur on an airplane, and turbulence is just in-flight bumpiness. It's as simple as that. It's defined by the experience of the pilot or the passengers. On a sunny day, you can have air thermals, warm air moving up and down in the atmosphere, and that will make your plane move up and down. The more severe kinds of turbulence are often associated with wind blowing over mountains. And so in the end, it's something that we can't directly simulate in today's computer models. So we forecast it by larger scale of properties of the atmosphere that we can simulate.
Can you tell me about what this does to a plane?
Very, very rarely do you have an airplane affected by turbulence to the extent that the airworthiness is threatened. In other words, turbulence isn't going to knock a plane out of the sky, but it is scary because you're trapped on the airplane and you don't know what to do. Keep your seatbelt fastened. That will keep you from being thrown around if, in the rare case of severe or extreme turbulence, you start to pull G's. And so you fly up or you're slammed down in your chair. Most of these turbulence events last a very short amount of time because the pilots get the heck out of it as soon as they're in it. So they either climb or descend or do something to avoid the region.
To learn and hear more about the science of turbulence and what the future of detecting it looks like, be sure to check out this week's episode of our podcast, Off the Radar. We also hear from a pilot about what it's like flying through turbulence in the cockpit. Find Off the Radar anywhere you listen to podcasts. Last week, NOAA issued its most aggressive hurricane forecast on record, calling for up to 25 named storms and 7 major hurricanes. So what led to such a prediction? Meteorologist Megan Dehaney has more.
La Nina conditions are already forming in the equatorial Pacific. This creates kind of a domino effect where cooler waters there push the jet stream farther north in the northern hemisphere. That, in turn, lessens wind shear and trade winds over the tropical Atlantic. This year, we'll likely see a busy African monsoon season where waves of low pressure move off the African coast, and these easterly waves are the seeds of some of our stronger, more long-lived hurricanes. Lastly, sea surface temperatures are already as warm as we typically see them in August. Take very little disruption from trade winds and wind shear plus hot ocean water, and you get NOAA's prediction an 85% chance of an above normal hurricane season. Megan Dehaney, the National Weather Desk.
Clouds shield us from sun, and they also bring rain. But have you ever wondered how much they weigh and why they float? Meteorologist Lindsay Storrs takes a look on Instagram.
Have you ever wondered how much clouds weigh? We don't think about it much because the clouds float in the sky, but clouds contain water, and water can weigh a lot. So how much do you think a typical cloud weighs? Researchers have calculated that the average cumulus cloud you might see on a summer day can weigh as much as 1.1 million pounds, or about 100 elephants. So if a cloud really weighs that much, why does it float? Why doesn't it sink down to the ground? To understand that, you have to understand that air has weight too. At sea level, that weight, or pressure, is 14.5 pounds per square inch. Air has density too. Dry air is more dense than moist air, like in a cloud. So the cloud floats, just like oil floats on water. The oil is less dense than the water. And that's why a cloud that weighs over 1 million pounds can float in the air.
And with the summer season unofficially underway, it's important to remember to protect your skin from the sun. Sunscreen and sunglasses can both do the job. This morning, we're putting both to the test. Meteorologist Amy Aronson starts off with a look at sunscreens.
It's that time of year when the sun is high in the sky and sunscreen is extra important. So I decided to do a little experiment to find out what sunscreen is the best. To do this, I put paper in the sun, one without sunscreen, a spray of SPF 30, a spray with SPF 50, a lotion with SPF 50, another lotion with SPF 55, and a spray with SPF 70 to see what one protects the best. After only an hour, the paper without sunscreen completely faded in the sun. The one with SPF 30 did a blotchy job. The SPF 50 spray did a better job, but still looks a little patchy to me. Meanwhile, the SPF 50 lotion gave some great coverage. Upping the SPF to 55 didn't make much of a difference with the lotion. And lastly, the spray, SPF 70, looks pretty good to me. In summary, any sunscreen is better than no sunscreen, but it looks like the lotions did the best job. In Baltimore, I'm meteorologist Amy Aronson.
Sunglasses are important because they help keep harmful UV rays out of our eyes. But do inexpensive glasses work just as well as high-end ones? Let's over to Alex Garcia. He puts them to the test.
I've got some UV beads, and it already shows you there's plenty of color here because there's a lot of UV rays hitting us right now. So I'm going to take another vial with UV beads in it. This one has not been exposed, so it's still white. You can see them all white like that. So I'm going to put them right here underneath the glass. Let's see what happens if they continue to stay white like that, and how much of that's really going to help. So let's see. We're looking at it. We're looking at it. It's blocking some. They're not very bright. So it is blocking a little bit. So that's the cheaper glasses. You know, you can pick those up at the bargain store. These are the kind of moderately priced ones. Let's see if these are also UV rated. So let's try that really quick, see if that helps. I see the whites, I see the whites, I see the whites, and yes, it is staying basically white. So these are working really well. Now let's go to the little bit more expensive ones. We'll pull this out, set this up, put that underneath there. Let's see if that's going to work. We're watching for the UV change, and boy, this stuff is really working. The more expensive ones, yeah, they're really working. You can see that. Barely changing light color at all. So when you're out there looking for sunglasses, make sure you get the best sunglasses possible that are UV rated. That can help you out quite a bit.
We'd love to share your weather content on air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We're back after this.
Good Tuesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Today, some scattered showers and a few rumbles of thunder across the Great Lakes. As we head into your day tomorrow, a lot of sun across a lot of the plains, but we still have some showers out in the eastern portions of the Ohio Valley. More thunderstorms developing, though, by Thursday across the plains from the Dakotas down into Nebraska and Kansas, and that will continue moving east as we head into your Friday and weekend. So all in all, temperature-wise, running pretty close to normal the next several days.
Good Tuesday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at our forecast across the region, and we have a severe thunderstorm chance through the day today. It's an enhanced risk across central Texas from Austin down towards San Antonio up towards San Angelo and Abilene. That is that enhanced risk for strong to severe storms. So it'll be later on this afternoon and this evening across the dry line of West Texas, showers and thunderstorms developing and then pushing to the east. Temperatures in the 80s and 90s for afternoon highs. We'll quiet things down, though, as we head towards your Wednesday, except still seeing some showers and thunderstorms near Louisiana.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We're getting our warmest day of the year in parts of southern Idaho and Boise, coming in at 88. Downright hot with triple-digit heat for parts of the Southwest from Las Vegas to Phoenix, where we're still dealing with the ozone pollution advisory in the Phoenix area. Now, high pressure is breaking down, and this cold front is going to spawn plenty of showers and thunderstorms, working its way down into Utah and Nevada. That's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
All right, workers willing to be on the job 24/7 for the entire summer. Sounds sort of unrealistic, but that's exactly what's happening on an island in Green Bay. Andrew Mertens explains.
These sheep aren't what you would typically see near the Bay of Green Bay, but they've been hired for some work on Renard Island.
They eat their dessert first, so they're going to come through, they'll literally walk across, eat all the good stuff, and then they'll walk back across eating the rest of the good stuff, and then they're like, okay, I'll eat my vegetables now.
About 32 sheep are grazing on the vegetation here on Renard Island. They're expected to be here 24/7 through the summer and as late as October.
This is a big project, and it's going to take a lot of sheep out here over the course of the summer.
The 55-acre man-made island is not open to the public. But in the next couple of years, the county hopes that will change.
We want to try to keep the vegetation down because eventually we'd like this island to be a recreational facility.
In 2019, the Brown County Port released a master plan for Renard Island, which included creating a trail system, camping and picnic areas, as well as a marina for boat traffic. In the meantime, the sheep will continue munching on the land for some old-fashioned landscaping.
Thank you so much for looking in this morning. I'm glad you were able to join me. I'm meteorologist Steve Rudin from WJLA in Washington, D.C. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Good day.